Let's get into some shake. Hi, my friends. Welcome to Apocalyptic. I am so happy that you decided to hang out just a little while. I'm not going to keep you long. I promise I won't. I try not to. Really, I just want you to hang out for a little while, maybe get a little breath of fresh air, possibly some entertainment value. I don't know. Whatever you get out of it is fine with me, and I like it when you tune in. For a lot of reasons, you know, you're my friends. You know, this is sometimes it's the only way I actually interact with my friends here. A lot of you don't follow me on Facebook. We're not friends in the same city. We don't hang out, that kind of stuff. So it's like the podcast is the only time we ever actually get together and communicate, right? Kind of cool. I do appreciate it. I can't wait till you start your own podcast so I can hang out with you on your podcast. Let's get this out of the way. I have a listener line here for you listeners. And this is completely for you. You can call in, say whatever you want to say, give your opinion, just whatever. It doesn't matter. It's your line. 678-348-0008. It's your line. You can say and do whatever you want. Text me at that same line if you don't want to talk. And I'll get your message. I'll put it on the podcast, and everybody can hear your opinions. Everybody can hear what you got to say. You can email me, rick@apocalyptic.com if you want to do that, or just hang out on Facebook, Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. Don't look for me. Not there. So this week, actually yesterday, I was on a podcast. I was on a podcast. It was different. I'm recording a podcast now, but I was on a podcast yesterday. Mr. Mike Poole, who's been a follower, way back since Year in a Kilt started. He started following some of my antics on A Year in a Kilt and hung out all the way through Life in a Kilt. And then we did the podcast. I remember he interacted a lot on the podcast. He's shown up on several of our Zooms when we did This Epic Disaster. He just a constant present. He's supported. He's a really cool guy. And he decided to start his own podcast. His is a video podcast. So he asked me to be a guest, and I said, sure. And yesterday we did a little video. It's been posted. I do have it on the Apocalyptic blog section. So go to Apocalyptic. You can watch, I think it's like 30 minutes, I believe. Podcast is called Taking a Sip. And Mike just interviews a lot of different people. See what makes people tick. And it was a lot of fun talking with Mike. We talk on Facebook occasionally, but we haven't talked to each other's face probably a year, I guess. Maybe. I don't remember the last time he popped into a Zoom, but that was fun. If you ever get a chance to be on somebody's podcast, for whatever reason, just do it. I mean, you could be on this one. I just explained how. Just do it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Podcasts are sort of like radio, but they're more personal. And it's always fun just to kind of pop in and talk to people and let people know who you are. You know, you're important. You're out there. You have opinions. You function in this life. And it's just great to be able to say, hi, I'm here. This is me. And people go, oh, wow, that guy's or that girl's like here. I didn't know they were. And now I do. You ever think when you're out just kind of driving around or something, you just see somebody. You never see them before. You just look. And it's just me. I always just wonder, what's their story? I've never seen them before. There they are. I'm never going to see them again. But somehow they function in this world. They have a job. Probably. They've done things. They have accomplishments. They have maybe sins. Possibly they've killed. I used to think that when I would go to the mall when I was young, I would walk around the mall and I would just think, how many people here have killed someone? And you know, older guys have because they were in the war. You know, they went through that trauma. But there's always people. Sometimes accidents. Sometimes, you know, I don't want to. Let's just say trigger warning. I don't know who's done what out there. but it was always just sort of, like you think of gangster kind of stuff, criminals like a hitman or whatever. I just think, wonder who here has killed someone. And then I've actually met people and I've just thought, I may have just met the person who's going to kill me. Why did I get on killing? I'm going to get off of that really, really quick. So this is really fascinating to me. Do you have things in your life that you're is that a word? Unexplainably? Unexplaining? I don't know what the word is. I'm going to say unexplainably drawn to or repulsed by, especially drawn to. I'm very curious about that. Just things that your entire life you can't get away from. You're just drawn into, and I won't say an obsession, but maybe an obsession, or just a constant presence in your life that not necessarily a human. But I'll say, for example, like when I was a kid, I was really always drawn to Japan and Japanese things. I don't know. And what's really weird is I think I had a nephew this exact same way. So this kind of goes along with my theory that I believe, you can inherit your family's height. You can come from a tall family and you could be tall. You could inherit a family's hair pattern. You might be bald. You might have curly hair, skin tones. You can nose shape, ear shape, birthmarks, whatever. You can inherit these physical traits. And we have no problem accepting that. But we don't think about the fact that we can also maybe inherit invisible things that aren't physical, mental things, spiritual, in just things inside of you, emotional. I think people are starting to accept that depression could be something that's inherited. And there's some chemical and some physical aspects to that. But just being drawn to, all right, let's just say the Manning family, Peyton Manning and Eli Manning and their dad, Archie Manning, these football people. And I know that was passed on. They were trained when they were kids. But a lot of people are trained to do things when they're kids that when they get older, they just lose interest in. So what made these guys just brilliant at what they do? Obsessed with it to the point where it's just like they were put on this earth to do that and to do that only. At least to do it like majestically, just otherworldly. So I think that there are traits that we have. There are things that we have that we're drawn to. There are actions and reactions that we have that we're not really responsible for as individuals. I think maybe more things about us are inherited than we think. Sometimes you could see a pattern. My family on my mother's side were really into service, I don't know the word, social service. Nah, that's not really the word. In other words, like policemen and firemen, My dad's side, so many school teachers. And it's just like there's something that draws people into things. And it's almost, how does it happen? We don't know. But we just got like these weird little things that pull us in. And if you look at your family, if you look at a lot of people, you start seeing patterns that maybe you weren't aware of. And you just think, where did that come from? It's very fascinating that that things about us could come from somewhere else. Even how we react to other people. I don't know, is road rage an inherited thing? Or is it just something that you viewed when you were a kid and you picked up those patterns? I think it might be a mixture of both. I've mentioned before on other podcasts I've done how I have a recurring dream of tornadoes, which I've had when I was a kid. And I was very much afraid of tornadoes when I was a kid. But I just have a recurring dream. I dream so much of tornadoes. And it was always really scary, and I never understood why. And then one time, I guess it was in my 20s, a friend of mine, I was telling a friend of mine who was kind of into dream interpretation like I am, and my friend said, well, that just represents life upheaval, non-control of life, and life changing without you being able to do anything about it. And I was like, holy crap, I never thought about that. I never saw that. But it made so much sense. And it seems like in my life, when there's been so much change and things I can't control, boom, here comes a tornado dream. Didn't expect that. I should have, but there it is. So I dreamed, I haven't dreamed about a tornado in a while, but I did a couple nights ago. New tornado dream happened. But here's the change, man. Here's the change of, did I just say man? I'm now becoming one of those hippies. I'm a Cheech and Chong hippie now. I was never a hippie. I always hated hippies. I grew up, the hippies were older than me, and I never really liked them. But I did go through a period where I said man a lot. So that just came back, apparently. Man, here we go, man. Here's the difference of my tornado dreams. Like when I was a kid, when I was younger, it was totally fear, scary. It just scared the crap out of me. But what I found in the past few years of what's happening is the tornadoes are very fascinating. So somewhere along my line, I went somewhere along my life, I went from fearing tornadoes to, I don't know, I won't say being attracted to tornadoes, but wanting, I don't know, I would totally go on a tornado chasing excursion. You know what I'm saying? Just go. I would love, I've never seen an actual big tornado out in the wild. I have never seen that. I've never seen them in their element. I've never seen a wild tornado in its element. So I would love to see that. I don't want to see it just barreling toward my house for sure, but I could go to Kansas and just hang out at a big field with a tornado watch crew and watch a tornado, man. That would be so much fun. I would love to do that. And I think it's kind of like jumping out of a plane. There's that rush of energy. You know, you're facing your fear, and there's adrenaline, and it feels good. There's a mixture of like bliss and fear right in there. But I would do that. And so I've noticed the change in my dreams is I'm kind of like, I'm not afraid of the tornadoes. I'm more fascinated by them. And a lot of times I'll come out when the tornado is happening and I'll watch it. I'll keep a distance. I'll keep a respect, but I'm more fascinated than scared. So I think if tornado means upheaval, if it means life change, I'm no longer afraid of life changes. I now kind of embrace them, and I'm like, I want to see where this is going. I want to see what's going to happen. And I think maybe that's a good thing, right? I hope it is. But there are other things about my life that I have this attraction, unexplained reactions. And I remember one time, well, let me just say, I've always been afraid of water. I'm not a swimmer. I'm not a big fan of the beach and oceans. I do like to kind of walk along, but not swim. I'm just not into it. I saw Jaws in 1976, and I've been to the beach maybe once since then. That's how much that changed me. But here's what, one time I'm not into reincarnation. I'm not going to say I don't believe it. I don't really pay a lot of attention to it. It's a fascinating thing. I don't see logically how it can be true, but I certainly think it could be a possibility, so I don't rule it out. But one time I decided I was going to, how is it that everybody was like once Marilyn Monroe or whatever? It's like everybody's like, oh, I was the same person. That's one thing that kind of makes me feel like that maybe it's not true, and people feel like, they're convinced that they were the same people as somebody else. And then they're occupying the same space. What happened there? Doesn't make sense to me. So here's what I thought. What I did is I just kind of took all of these things that I've just been drawn to or afraid of, repulsed by, a lot of fear, a lot of love, and I created a scenario of what could have happened to me in a past life. And that's why I have these feelings of that I'm drawn to or reject. So I decided I was a Buddhist monk in Japan because I've always been kind of like drawn toward Buddhism. I don't know why. I've always been drawn to Japan, one of my early loves. And I was a fisherman on a boat. So I was a Buddhist monk, but I guess my career or I don't know. I was a fisherman on a boat, and I was caught in a storm at sea, and I drowned. So that kind of covers my fear of water, my unexplained fear of water. See, I just built this thing just based on that. So what would your pretend or potential or possible past life character be based on your collection of fears and unexplained loves? Put one together. Tell me, call the listener line. Tell me who you were in a past life. So another thing, and this kind of goes along the same thing, I've always been weirdly drawn to, but yet also afraid of, like, I don't know the word, fishing villages, fishing communities. So, and I think, here's a good example. I was very much affected by the movie The Birds when I was a kid. It really just scared me. And that little village of Bodega Bay in the Hitchcock film, and this is California, but for some reason my fear happens in like New England. I think I'm up in the New England area. But that same little kind of fishing village, village by the bay, village by the ocean, whatever. The architecture, the colors, the smells. I've been to others before in my life. Now, one of the very first trips that I remember, and my mother says I was 2 or less. I don't remember. So she's not convinced that I actually remember it. And it might be true. It could be a dream. I don't know. We went to Cape May, New Jersey, and I feel like I can remember parts of that. And so maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know. Just fishing villages, fishing things. Like just when I go out and I see nets and things, I don't know. It triggers something really primal. One time I had a tape, a CD, and it had, I think it was called Healing Music, and it had like really soft music, and I was using it to meditate. And this track came on. The music was entirely almost like Japanese flute. And I was listening to it, and it scared me so much, I had to stop it because I got this vision of something. It was like a past life vision. And I was in some country like Norway, some Nordic country. And I just remember seeing these flags flying in the breeze, and there was a big chill in the air. And I was around the ocean. I was like on a dock, a boat dock or something. And it was so vivid and so real that it just scared me. And I was an adult. But it's the first time I thought, wow, there's something in me that I don't know about. Something buried down in there. So I don't know. It's kind of fun, but I just wonder, what are the things that we just control our lives and we don't know why? You know, when I was really young, I felt this impulse to study Zen, and I tried, and I could not at all connect to it. It didn't make sense to me. I read book after book after book. I couldn't get it. But yet I still had this weird thing of needing to study Zen. And one day I found this book called Christian Zen. I grew up Christian. I didn't grow up Zen. And it was the first time it made sense to me. And that book really, I would say, started my spiritual journey. How does that work? How does that happen? What is it that knows that I needed to do that? I have no explanation. I can't say. But it's fun to speculate, right? Well, I wanted to say really quickly, and this is maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't need this. Maybe you do need this. I feel like that we all need to spend some time taking care of ourselves. We put a lot of time into taking care of other people. We go to work, taking care of somebody else's company. Nothing wrong with that, really. We get paid for it. Some of us do. I've been working for my own company for 2 years now and haven't received a single paycheck. One day it'll happen, but that's what you do, you know? But I feel like it's so easy to get stuck into a rut and forget to take care of ourselves. I think daily we need to do something important for us, even if it's just have a bowl of our favorite ice cream. I just think we need to watch our favorite movie again. Take a little bit of time. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do it with someone else. If taking care of yourself is spending time with the person you love the most, do that. But just self-focus a little bit. It's okay to turn the spotlight onto you for a while. And I just think that sometimes we just need to do something that makes us feel really, really good. And that could be physical. I'm not going to go into, I'm not prying. But spend some time, watching your favorite YouTube video, something silly. I don't know. But don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid of just spending some time for you. And if I could drop a little hint in there, let me just say, during that time, try to leave your mind behind, because your mind, your own mind will ruin your fun sometimes. It'll tell you shouldn't be doing this. It'll tell you should do it a different way. It'll spend a lot of time kind of editing what you're doing and basically ruin your fun. And you don't need to do that. Just go on an impulse. Just, make it legal. Don't hurt other people while you're doing it. Do I need to say that? I don't think, not to you. I don't think I need to say, there might be some other dumb people out there. But if knocking someone off is something that makes you feel good, don't do it. Just figure out another way. Do it. Get a voodoo doll or something. But I'm talking about just feeling good. It could be like there's a place here in Atlanta that literally has the best burgers. Grindhouse, giving you a shout out in Atlanta. There are several locations. If you come to Atlanta, go to Grindhouse. I mean, there's no reason to even explain it to you. You got to put the burger in your mouth. And I'm vegetarian. They have the best vegetarian burger in the whole world at Grindhouse. Go. And when I need to take care of myself, if it's a birthday, if it's just a special day, sometimes, there were a couple times my wife went out of town. I was just like, I want to do something for me. And boy, that's the thing I did, man. I stuck that burger in my mouth. Can't beat it. Spending time with friends, laughing a lot, drinking some decent beer. It doesn't have to be good. Just do that. All right. Have I preached enough to you? It's not a preaching. I don't think it's preaching. I'm just telling you. It's okay to take some time for you. We don't do it enough. And I think some people call it selfish. We live in a society where it's kind of a selfish society. And but I think because the society was built on a lot of Christian and church religious ideas, there's sort of this ingrained thing in society that says you constantly have to serve other people. And even though we live in this selfish, self-centered society, we still have that. And so people feel guilty when they do need to take some time out to serve themselves, because you do need to. And I think it's important just to ignore that. Forget about it. You cannot help other people in any aspect until you help yourself first. Can't do it. You're an unhealthy person. You won't be able to serve people and serve them in the right way. It becomes an obligation. So it's okay. It's okay to do it. Hey, that's all I'm going to say. Please, people, reach out. Talk to me. Watch the video of me with Mike Poole. That's a great video. I had fun. I want to do more of those. If you got a podcast and you want me on, I'm begging to be on your podcast. No, I like Mike. He's a cool guy, fun to talk to. Maybe we'll do a version 2. But until then, watch version 1. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to go to work today. Take care of yourself. We'll see you Monday.